All right, it's the final weekend of the Fort Worth Stock Show. One stop to add to your visit is the National Western Multicultural Museum and Hall of Fame. It is dedicated to stories of people from Hispanic, Native American, Asian, European, and African descent and how they helped settle the American West. I had the opportunity to talk to the man who saw a need to highlight those forgotten cowboys. Take a look. 28 years ago, give or take, you were 45 years old and you attended your first rodeo, and that experience changed your life.
Changed my life totally. I did not realize that 1/4 of the cowboys were Black, Hispanic, and Native American. And upon finding that out, we decided to use the rodeo to raise funds for our organization.
And the organization became the National Cowboys of Culture, and that included a rodeo, and it also included a museum. And in fact, here in this new facility, you have some of those artifacts from that original museum that was located near the stockyards, and now you're in a brand new building, and you're in a location that can better showcase these wonderful works of art, including these pieces that we see here. Tell us about them.
Right now, we're in the gallery, and you'll see pictures of Buffalo Soldiers, cowboys, Native American, that tells the true history of the forgotten cowboys.
Well, and what's interesting, something I learned today, is when you created the National Cowboys of Colors, the S was there intentionally, but what you wanted to make sure of when you changed the name to incorporate multicultural is all different types of cultures were included. So as we enter into this room, we can certainly see that. Native Americans, they were also a big part of establishing the West.
Yes. The word color, you think about colored people, but now we're the Multicultural Western Heritage Museum. So in this room, you see Native Americans. They were a part of the West too with the light horsemen, and they participated in the development of the West.
And also they worked with other people of different cultures to help establish. They bonded with these individuals, whether from Latino descent, African American descent, or Native American descent. We're in this room now, and this is something I want to point out. I think this is really interesting. These are chaps that have Magic Johnson's name on him, and it was something that he received when he was speaking at an event. But it just goes to show how much there was so much influence from so many cultures. And this gentleman right here, this man named Bass Reeves, he is the real deal.
He is the real deal. Bass Reeves rounded up bad guys for over 30 years in the West. He was notorious for always catching his man. And the history is so profound, and was right here in Fort Worth also.
He was a slave. He got angry at what they called the slave owner at that time, beat him up, moved into law enforcement, and the rest is history. Now let's talk about Bill Pickett, the bulldogger. How did that name come about?
Bill Pickett is the founding of bulldogging. He was in the rodeo circuit. He participated with Will Rogers, and he lived on the 101 Ranch. And there's a sport within the rodeo called bulldogging, and Bill Pickett started that, and he was one of the most famous cowboys that most people recognize when you talk about Black cowboys.
It's fantastic, and it's such a beautiful place to see all of these different artifacts really well positioned in this new facility. And what I love about this, Jim, is the fact that you do have so many different cultures that are well represented here. And the next room that we're entering into seems like the perfect way to end this interview, because it really does marry all of the different cultures in one area, in one room, and it does indeed make a statement. Tell me more.
This room here shows you the diversity of the West. It's so important because people did not realize that the Blacks, Hispanic, African Americans, they rode the West. Fort Worth is where the West begins. So that history is so empowering when you come into Fort Worth. And that's what our museum is, a multicultural experience, so that our children and people of the world can learn about this history, because it's so important me as an African American, I didn't know. And when I found out, it empowered my life. And these kids, we do workshops, and when they learn more about their history, they become better achievers in what they're doing when they learn about the heritage. You know, the word cowboy, little black boys rounding up cows. It is so powerful that we were probably the first cowboys that were out there. But as you see in this museum, pictures, saddles, information about the history of the forgotten cowboys.
And you have moved the forgotten cowboys into a position now that we will remember. Thank you so much for this. I appreciate your time.
Thank you for coming out.
All right, the museum is located off of Dottie Lynn Parkway in Fort Worth. You can learn more at nmwhm.org.